And then if I just pull this out, you see I can rotate that line. And I'm going to bring it over till it matches those two lines behind, and click. And now you can see that this plane, the slant of this plane, matches the plane that these other lines fall in. So I said this is a little more detailed because we're doing by hand, we're doing things and lining things up rather than letting the automatic tools do it for us. I'm ready to draw my arc in. Arc tool, again we start here. Now the reason we start up here is so that when we click down here we have this line to follow to help us line up our arc in the right place. Okay, and that looks good right about there. Draw that one in. Okay. I can get rid of that line. Now I haven't got rid of any of this up here in these because I need to come back here, and I'll do it for now. See this one, we have this line. See where the triangle is? Because we did a pull. Here we don't. So what we'll have to do is see what each one of these, we have to finish this part of the line, that first slant that we made back up here. Okay, so we've got that arc in. So we're just working our way down. I can delete this now. And we're ready to work on the next one. But again, first of all, we have to draw this slanted area and bring it back to the other edge down here. Want to make sure I get right on the corner of that. Okay, there we go. Follow this line again. Yep, keep losing it. Part of the reason I'm losing it is because it's something behind is interfering probably. So I'm going to try to get it over here so there's nothing back in behind. Let's try that again. There we go. Now, one of the things that's nice when that other one filled in, see when I bring the line over, I got a message that says on face. So now when I click this and fill that in, see those lines line up. So that was one of the places where the face came in right real handy, because it told me when I got this line over to this face or this plane, so that this line automatically lined up in the right place. Alright, so we'll go through the procedure of drawing in that arc. So again, the arc tool. Draw this up till it just touches. There it is. Oh, I messed up here high. Look at that top corner I missed. There we go. That's better. So when you're drawing things in by hand like this, you really just, part of the trick of it is you just have to keep checking and double checking what you're doing to make sure that things lined up. Now, when we start getting down here, we get into a problem is that when we pull the arc, notice how here it's popping above this straight line surface. See how that's popped up? And we don't want that, because what happens, it's going to come straight across here and then bulb up. And part of that is because when we're getting down here now, the length of the triangle here is longer in here. So we have to make another adjustment. So again, that's what I'm talking about. You really have to check all the points and look at things to see how they're lining up and make the appropriate changes. So I'm going to Control Z to get rid of that arc. Start again. And this time as I'm bringing it up, I'm going to be looking at this other area here. And I want to stop my arc at a point where it looks like it will line up best with the line that will go from here to here. Alright, so see how that makes a nice flowing curve. We look at the previous one, see how this comes along and then it bows up. Alright, so this one also needs to be changed. And so what I'm trying to show you here is that when you're drawing things in by hand and making your shapes by hand, each one is a little bit different. And there's a lot of visual checking and lining up of parts that you have to use to get the right shape. And again, so you can see this one now. See how the line comes down here and that one bulbs up? So let's just go back. We'll delete that one. And what we need to do to get that correct is pick up our line tool. Come down here. Now if I come down here to start to redraw this one, I can find where the other one was here. The problem was when I start to pull that one up, I don't have any reference. See, I've lost this line. So this is a kind of place where you can really start to get into difficulties if you're not double checking and working with other things. But it's alright. What we're going to do is do Control Z. We're going to get rid of this and go back to where we have that plane so we can redo that line. So Control Z, and you can see we're moving back. That line disappears. A couple more times. Here you can see our box starting to reappear. There. So now I have the reference that I need. And again, if we looked here, see, by looking at this space in here, you can see that this goes up and gets thinner here, which is what we don't want. So I'm going to get rid of this arc. And one of the choices we could make in this particular example is we get here so we can see that space that I just pointed out. And as I'm drawing this arc in, I'm looking at that space. And also I'm looking at the angle of this line with the first line of my arcs. Now see, that's too high. That's too low. There's a place where, when I click on this, this line in the background flows nicely into this and looks like a continuation of the curve. So we're using more of a visual reference to help guide us to where we're going to put our arc. So let's go in here now and get rid of this. And we can go back now and put this other arc in, and we're going to use the same kind of information to bring this edge across. So that first plane that determines where this goes is back in there again. Okay, on face, outside, okay, there's what we want. Draw that line in. So there's our new shape. And what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to come underneath here and I'm going to draw this line in now, because I really need that for that visual reference. Okay. So I want to get an angle, see, so I can see this angle, and I know that my arc, I want to make my arc line up with it. So I'm ready to use my arc tool and start this next arc. And again, what I'm really looking at is this line back here and how my arc tool, okay, too high, too low. Look for the spot where we get, it looks like this line is part of the same curve as this line. Alright, so we're ready to move on down the way to do our next one. And I'm going to click on this line back here again. We don't need it anymore, and get it out of the way so I can see more clearly what I'm working with. See, got a little piece of line left here I want to get rid of. Alright, so on to the next one. Now, one of the things you should probably be noticing when you're drawing things in by hand, it's a lot slower than the automatic tools. And you have to pick your references that you're going to use.